Welcome to the Fresh and Fired Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Emily Marshall, here to help you function at your best in health, fitness, and life. Joined by my co-host, the wild, wonderful Hailee Piendl. Let's get fired up.
Let's get fired up. I'm so fired up.
How was that intro?
That was a really good send-off. Are you sad? Everyone will get what we're going to talk about today, but are you sad?
No, I don't get sad. Come on.
You don't get sad? Last episode we were just talking about how your mom left and you cried for like 3 days.
I know.
So you don't
that was like 2 episodes ago. I know, obviously. I'm kidding. Yeah, I get happy, I get sad. I'm like a puppy dog. I'm like, all over the place with my emotions, kind of like one of those little golden retrievers. As long as I get to stay close and be your friend, I'll be happy.
Yeah, nothing's really changing. Hi, everybody.
You're being super cryptic.
We're switching gears. So this is a Fresh and Fired Up podcast. But Emily, you must fill us in on like kind of your thought process, because I am going to be hosting. You are going to be co-hosting. So essentially we're kind of swapping hands here because your life has gotten busy and your focus is redirecting. So fill us in on kind of where your focus is.
Okay, well, the Fresh and Fired Up podcast, as we know, has gone through 4 seasons. Whoop, whoop. And those of you who have stuck with us through it all, we are so, so thankful for you. What this is not, so let's start with our contrasting, since we were talking about communication on our last episode. What we are not doing is ending the podcast. The podcast is continuing on, but we are shifting gears with the focus of the podcast. So the Fresh and Fired Up podcast was my baby that started in 2022, and it started off with just me as the co-host. I mean, you're welcome to go back and listen to all the episodes. They all just hang out there. Some of the early episodes, right? You look back and you're like, oh wow.
Oh
okay.
My gosh. It's so true with any kind of content. I don't delete anything on my social media or like the early of the earliest. And some people actually like scroll back. And I'm like, I'm glad that you do, so you can see the evolution of it. I think the evolution is so interesting to see. And like, I'm sure you can feel like that, where it's like you watch some or listen to some of your old podcasts and you're like, oh my gosh, someone stop this woman.
Yes, exactly. Well, I will say this. I was a lot more nervous and more calculated in the beginning, more curated in a sense. Like I always had and we've had different topics where I'll have a few notes on the side and they're typically just bullets of like, let's try to track in a certain topic or a certain mode. But I have had ones that are totally freestyle. I'm kind of interested to know how many listens are like, oh, they're definitely freestyling versus,
You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do later? I'm going to scroll back and I'm going to listen to all of them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Because you have that much extra time. Anyways, all I'm saying is what we are not doing is ending the podcast for those of you who want to continue on being our listeners, because we will both be here, at least that's what we're hoping for our next phase of this podcast. But what we are doing is we are transitioning to Hailee, you being the main host, me being your co-host, because we have noticed trends in a lot of the clients that you serve and the content that you make. We have quite a few listeners who are seeking out your help and guidance with your business, with your health coaching. So I have shifted my focus back more onto our local clinic, our chiropractic clinic. And we have some new changes and things that we have coming down the pipeline for it as well, leaving that one as a cliffhanger. So that's going to be a lot of more of my attention is going to be towards that, as well as the community involvement, local community talks. If you have been listening to the podcast, you've heard some of my journey with neck injuries and concussions. And so I've actually developed some concussion educational talks that I can do for parents, coaches, teachers, really focusing on youth athletes who need help with when do we return to school, when do we return to sport. So yeah, it's exciting, but it's going to be different. I'm excited to remain as part of this podcast, but also not fully heading it up and doing all the wonderful media stuff that you are so good at, Hailee.
Oh gosh, please stop.
Yes. So yeah, so you'll still get to hear my voice, but how about, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the shifts in focus? Or are you
Yeah,
like, no, I'm not ready for
absolutely.
that?
I
Yeah.
am. I am. It's gonna be just kind of like what like my past story, disordered eating, binge eating, restriction, the mental aspect of it, behavior change, REDS or relative energy deficiency in sport, loss of period, fat loss after your loss of period, how to do that sustainably. So just kind of what I talk about all the time on my social media. I just kind of want to translate into more long form content. I have been absolutely loving long form. I actually share your hatred with social media a lot. Not in a sense of like um I don't like to create it. I love creating. It's just such a small snippet of information that it leaves so many open links or
Yeah.
open loops going on. And what long form it kind of closes that. So I've been more so doing like YouTube, and I love the podcast for that reason, is because you can actually get the full story and an actual like realistic sense of what maybe questions might be popping up rather than, watching a 30-second reel on everything you're doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, yeah. So,
I totally get that, and I agree. I feel like the long form ends up being more like in-person real
mhm.
interactions, like if you were face to face in the same room. And I think that's a lot of the shift for me back towards that has been, we always talk about being intentional, setting goals, having a vision, having a mission, knowing what your values are. And over the course of this past 2 years in specific, more so within the last year, 2026 has been huge for the realization of like, I really love face to face, real life, like you could pat me on the back interactions. And what I realized is that it points more back to local community involvement. And if you only have so much time and so much bandwidth, I really don't think I know some people hold doing one or the other or both together really well. And I think for each of us, we need to take a step back and go, okay, what do you love? How do you tick? What drives you? What's motivating for you? But then also, like, where do you see that it's helpful for others? And so I think that can really shift and change throughout different seasons of life. I know I'm also someone who likes change. Well, I have a weird mix. Like, I do like change and I'm okay with openness and opportunities and making changes as needed. But then of course, like right at the moment of change, you're like, oh, this feels kind of scary. It feels different, right?
Yeah.
But I think ultimately when I look back through years of time, I'm like, oh man, life is always changing. And it's usually a good thing. And you kind of get that deep down intuitive sense. You're like, okay, it's time to shake it up. It's time for a change. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like for you, you've gone through like the Frexy journey and like
Mhm.
doing the coaching, and then like obviously the clinic's always been a constant. But
Yes.
I think this next chapter, I suppose, for you really aligns with you as like a person. So I'm very excited for
Thank
you.
you. Yes. And you know what? It's taken a lot of years to weed out the noise of what do other people want.
hmm
And, oh, I should do this because someone told me I should do this. I had years of coaching for, another company that I coached for that I was like, okay, I should do this because someone was like, you're going to be good at this. And it was good. And I was good at it. But my original reason for starting was because someone else was kind of like, you should do this. And I'm like, oh, I should
hmm
do this. You're right. And actually, my social media journey and even this podcast started that way, where John was really encouraging. He's like, you should do this. You would be good at it. And I'm not saying that it's been a bad thing because it's been great. So sometimes having someone pushing you into something can turn out really great. And then other times you do it for so long and you're like, oh, this wasn't really my original idea.
Yeah.
And that kind of happened with Frexy a bit. Anyways, it's part of life lessons. Some life lessons are more expensive than others. Ah,
Oh
but you
gosh.
know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
I love hearing about when people do benefit though in any way from this podcast, like when we get a message in, or even if it's a local person who's just like, hey, listen to that episode, it was super helpful for whatever reason. that is definitely a driving factor for wanting to keep going and still be part of it with you. Cause I feel like, and I mean, ultimately, you know, when we're switching this over, I'm very happy to go with the topics that you brought up already, because we've talked about a lot of that. Like, it's been interweaved all through the Fresh and Fired Up podcast, right? So I really think that these changes aren't going to be massive. Are we going to still say let's get fired up? We haven't decided yet. You're like, no, we're not.
You know,
here's
what?
Go ahead, Hailee.
I have a love-hate relationship with that. I love it because it's so iconic, but I'm like, oh my gosh. It's so funny. Justin will be like to me all the time, like, let's get fired up. I was like, oh God.
Stop bringing it up. Okay, you know what's hilarious is we cannot say it in sync, so that doesn't work. I'm just gonna save it for when you ask me if I have any more golden nuggets. Then I'm just gonna whip that out, because that's what you always do.
Yeah, it's gonna still be here. Like, we're making this way bigger than it is. Like, this is gonna be the exact same thing all the time. It's just gonna be a different intro. It's literally it. So
yeah, that's it. And the other thing is, you know, guys, if it's one of those things is like all of our platforms are staying the same. So the disclaimers are this: our YouTube channel, our Spotify, our Apple Podcasts. So when you're messaging us, all of that stuff, or you're, you know, asking a question, the biggest thing really is you're going to get quicker replies if you're going through any of Hailee's media channels or directly Fresh and Fired Up rather than me. That's, I think, one of the biggest things. You're going to get better service, guys, okay?
I got my team in the DMs. I don't.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying, right? So, you know, you're not like, oh, shoot, I haven't checked this in months and now I missed your message, versus you have it actually like in the system on your radar.
It's running on the back end. But yeah, it's not really much of a difference. We're still going to be your amazing hostesses. So welcome, stay.
Yeah, welcome. So, but the biggest warning with this was that your next episode, we will have a different unveiling of the name.
Yeah. Are we? I have the name. Are we?
I don't know. Do you want to tell?
Okay. Yeah, I'm changing the name, everybody. So, backstory.
Yes, tell us about it.
Yes. So oh my gosh, let's go way back when, the origins of my coaching. So, you know how you always say, oh, the wild, wonderful. Anyways, it originates from my original name of Young and Wild Coaching.
It does, yeah.
I just absolutely loathe that name. What happened with that is I started blogging about hormonal health and all of this, 7 years ago. I just wanted to be like faceless blog, posted on Pinterest, and just like a little hobby thing that I did. I did not think I would follow through. I genuinely thought it would be a fun little hobby that I did for a month and then it would just drop off. So I didn't really care about what name I chose on my domain. I stuck with it. I created an Instagram, and now that Instagram has grown to like 8,000 followers and it's growing quite fast now. And so I got stuck with it, and I had just incorporated like a month ago. I incorporated on my birthday. So I thought that was a good opportunity to, you know, fix what I have done. And I changed my name to Gray Area Co. So original, like what that means, it's like living in the gray area. And so that was why I chose that. And so the name for the podcast now is Gray Matters. And I thought that was really clever.
I know. John was like, oh, witty. You got that whole brain neuroscience thing going on.
Heck yeah.
It. Oh, you're great.
So that's the original story from that. But I was also, you know, curious to send us off here. What was the like origin of Fresh and Fired Up? Like, what got you, other than like other people saying you'd be good at it, got you to actually like, because you're so consistent with it. I don't think you've missed a week since 15 years. Like,
yeah, no weeks.
It's incredible. But like, I think this
is episode 200. We've never missed a week. It's been 200 weeks.
We have never missed a week. You have never missed a week.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I will answer that question, but first, I need to rewind because I'm pretty sure you brought up your birthday because you
Yeah.
incorporated on your birthday,
Yeah.
and I got ragged on because I missed your birthday.
You had a birthday,
Did
and
you send me a birthday message? I just
I
want everyone to
didn't.
know.
And I did comment on your birthday post saying I love you. And
I
so
know. That
that was
counts.
kind of like a happy birthday, I love you.
Okay, good, good. I was like, man, I gotta bring this up because you were like, what? You missed
Funny
my
enough though, you gave me that out because I saw the birthday post. Otherwise, I would have been in the doghouse.
Oh, I know you were. Okay, so anyways, just for all of you to know that we are now even and we are starting on a level playing field moving
Yeah.
forward for all birthdays from now on.
Yes.
I'm glad we established that. Now back to the origins of Fresh and Fired Up. No, I was toying with the idea of like, wanting to start a podcast, wanting to have a greater presence in the online space and kind of get my feet wet, even though I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, of course, when we start anything. And at that time, I had worked for a company doing coaching, more business style coaching, and usually with healthcare professionals. And so it was the company I worked for was for chiropractors and systematizing and running chiropractic clinics. And that was a great experience. But at the time, I was also really dabbling with specifically noticing female chiropractors that the whole hormonal component and the energy level and the dynamic nature of life as women and a lot of the stuff that we talk about now, I was wanting to weave that into some of the coaching. So I was like, hey, this is something I could branch out and do a little bit more on my own. And so with that, I was like, well, I need to kind of get my name out there. And so I did that through the podcast and starting up my own Dr. Emily Marshall channels on Instagram and Facebook. And I started one on TikTok, but I've never had any consistency with it. And then people were always like, you should do LinkedIn and you should do, there's always more to add.
Do you
And
want
I'm
me
like,
to go clinically insane?
no, I'm like, forget it. I can't. But anyways, I picked a few, ran with it. And at the time, John was like, yeah, you should really do the podcast too. And I was like, okay, so I was like, okay, let's do this. And so it was kind of centered more around the business coaching mixed with a little bit of health, but it was so broad in a sense. And I didn't really know, I was really just trying to find my way. Health, family, and business is what I used to always say in the beginning, because I was like, how do you, as a woman, integrate working life with family life and still keep yourself healthy and energized to be able to do it? The other thing that was always in the back of my own mind. So that was kind of John being like, no, you can do it. Okay. Pushes me in. No, I shouldn't say he pushes me. He encouraged me. He encourages me. You got to do this. Okay. So I jump in. It took me forever to record the first episode. Finally got through it. I believe I did the first at least 7 episodes just totally on my own. And they weren't even that long. They were maybe like 15, 20-minute episodes of me monologuing with certain points, kind of more like a speech. The other aspect of this, though, that tied in with, wanting to develop some coaching was also doing speaking. I've always loved public speaking. And I applied to be a speaker at a women in business event, and they had multiple events. It was like 6 in a row. And I remember just being like, I'm just going to apply, see how it does. But their first question back to me was, hey, what do you have? Do you have any keynotes you can send us? Do you have a podcast? Do you have any essentially teaser content, something we can listen to get an idea of, well, what are you going to talk about? Right. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't. Right.
Obviously
so I'm like,
I do.
Yeah, obviously I do. So this was me being like, okay, this will be good for that too. Because if I want to do speaking events, you then have this backlog of contact, like, oh, just check out my podcast and it'll give you an idea of some of the topics that I'm well versed in and, how I sound, whatever people want to know. Right. Of course, I should have started the YouTube channel at that same time, but I couldn't it was enough that I was like branching out to the audio. And there were times when I was busy with kids and I'm like, I'm just in my pajamas, so I am not camera ready. You really helped me with that because we started with the YouTube more once you came on, and I felt like there's another person here with me and we got this, and you already have your YouTube and all of that. So anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So basically the biggest thing was the coaching and the keynote speaking, because I did end up getting hired. I did several keynote events for that. And then I ended up getting at the same time hired by another company to do regular speaking events. That was to an online group. And so it was cool. It gave a lot of, I probably ended up doing 12 different speaking engagements out of that in the beginning, like in-person events, which were super fun. And then from there, I had some of my own coaching clients, kept going with the podcast, was trying to kind of grow media presence. So had guest speakers on, and also get my feet wet more with what type of topics came up from guest speakers and what do people like and what was I enjoying learning about. So yeah, all of this to say, it's such a huge learning process, like the whole time. And then as far as the name goes specifically, Fresh and Fired Up came out of me just doing a bunch of brainstorming and scribbling down ideas. I've always loved alliteration. I'm a nerd that way. But yeah, right. But the whole thing was the fresh component of like literally feeling like, you think about like a fresh fruit, right? Like you're like, this is juicy and delicious. Come on. And then
Close
the fired
your
up,
eyes.
like,
Everybody imagine biting into an orange. You feel the rind on your tongue.
it's the peach. It's like the peach glutes. Come on.
Peach, the fuzz.
Right? Yeah. No, here, and then the fired up component was like literally like the energy, the enthusiasm for life, and the being confident and courageous. Like I feel like it requires courage to make change, to take steps, to put yourself out there publicly. I'm really inspired and I feel so connected with Saint Perpetua and Felicity have always been a driving factor of enthusiasm and purpose and motivation in my life within the course of doing this podcast, because she's known for being she's the patron saint of mothers, and she is known for her courage. And, she died as a martyr for the faith, and she's just super inspiring. If you don't know their story, you should go look it up. But that was part of like the drive to when someone's like, you should do this, you can do this, even if you don't believe you can do it yourself. I found it was like, no, you can do this. You can have this like Saint Perpetua like courage. So that was inspiring to me. And then the other saint that was really inspiring in picking the name was Saint Catherine of Siena. And I've brought that quote up before: be who God meant you to be and you will set the world on fire. And that's where like the fired up really comes from. And so that's the story.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I love what you said about like just kind of learning through this too, because I connected the dots for myself too of like, the first episodes that I was on too, I swear I was like not talking, or I was like fumbling my words, and just being here for, I don't know, over a year now, right? I don't even know.
It's been we're going to be coming up on 2 years. Like, I think, did we not do the first two? It was more just mine. And then did you not come on basically for the last 2 years?
I honestly don't remember. However,
time flies, guys.
Time flies when you're having fun. That's for sure. Anyway, my like speaking capabilities, and I've always been really bad at public speaking. It comes from a childhood trauma. Okay.
Right.
Anyways, it's gotten so much better just being able to like nonchalantly go off of, my memory and what I've learned and all this stuff. And I always say this to my clients too, like the last form of mastery is teaching. And so it's like allowed me to teach in such a more solidified way that it actually is rooted in my brain now. So I've gotten so much better at my job, at coaching, at speaking, at content, because I actually like learned to be myself rather than I'm sure you relate to this from your first episodes of like, you want to curate it, you want to script it and be this like perfect thing. And, no one can notice that this is new for me, but everyone notices, obviously.
Yeah.
Until you get better and better. And then, obviously you develop the skills. So that's been very helpful for me. I don't know what that came from, but anyways, that was what I took from your speech.
I'm glad that you took that from the speech, because I think a huge component of this has always been to be educational, be an
Mhm.
encouragement. And yeah, guys, we're not rocket scientists, but at the same time, it's like I know that any feedback that has been given to me by people who are reaching out has been like, you get a certain nugget here or there, and it just helps you go, aha, maybe if I just shift this a little bit, this is going to help with the trajectory that I am looking for or looking to go. And that's what I think we've both experienced even up until now through this, where it has shifted and tweaked a little bit along the way. And part of that is the interest for you guys, like your interests. And we see these trends and we go, oh, okay, like a lot of you seem to be struggling with your energy levels or feeling fatigue or feeling like, what do I do next? Right. When it comes to just even, I think a big one is to be able to sustain your energy throughout the day and not have afternoon crashes or not have crazy swings in your monthly hormonal cycle and how that affects then everything else. And this drives us more to dig deeper into the hormones, the details. The neurological system is a little bit more my wheelhouse. You're a little bit more into the nutritional component with the eating disorders and all of that. And we can glean from, here's areas of our interest, but then what are you guys looking for? What are your needs, and how can we help you on your journey? And that is a huge driving factor for both of us, and that continues on.
Yeah, exactly. And like we're learning and we're just passing down what we're learning, right?
Mhm.
Like the concussion course that you were in, and then we did a podcast on it, and it
Yeah.
allows you to solidify it more in your brain. And I think that like we can think that we need this like magic pill, or there's going to be this one euphoric moment that everything changes. When it's those incremental little moments where you just wake up one day and you realize that, a year ago, I didn't know how to speak on a podcast. I didn't know
Yep.
how to structure sentences. I didn't know how to structure anything. And then you just got better. So it's not this euphoric thing. And our goal isn't to give you this magic pill or this one solution that's going to fix it. It's more so, like you said, to give you these aha moments and just kind of allow you to learn alongside us. Because again, we're not masters, we're not rocket scientists. I'm not a doctor, okay?
I am
But
just saying.
you're a doctor. Exactly. Learn from Emily, not
Oh
from
yeah,
me.
sure, sure. So
But yeah,
just
we're
one of
we're
those
learning.
crazy quack doctors though, right?
What's a quack doctor?
That's like the whole like war between the chiropractors and the medical doctors back in the day throughout the last like 100 years, and like we got called quacks.
Quacks? Like
Yeah,
duck?
like we're crazy. The chiropractors are the crazies. Oh, you don't know your chiropractic history.
I
There you
don't
go.
know the jargon of chiro, or like the beef
Yeah, there's
between the
beef.
doctors.
Yeah, there is.
I can
It's
imagine.
because it was because back in the day it was like there was a threat to we're stealing patients in a sense, which we're not.
Mm,
So it's like yeah, we don't need to get into all that. Anyways,
yeah.
I'm kind of just joking because the whole like if you're a chiropractor or a dentist, people are like, "Oh, so are you a real doctor?"
Is a
Yeah.
dentist a doctor?
Yes. See, you
Really?
think the same thing. Yes, it's a
Oh, I didn't know
doctor.
that. I don't like the dentist, so I try not to immerse myself in that world. I've been putting off my. I actually, okay, you'll be proud of me. I just scheduled my cleaning for, I think, next week. I've been putting it off forever. I just genuinely hate going there.
Hailee, we need to
I
take care of
know,
our tooth health as well if we're talking
I
about health
know.
here.
And oral health is so important. And you know what? I'm a hypocrite. I don't talk about oral health, so I'm not a hypocrite. Anyways, update
Yeah,
on
we're
my
not
life.
getting into oral health.
Next Saturday, I'll be going for my dentist appointment, and I'll be just not having a good time.
You're going to be miserable. No, you'll be okay. Yeah, you'll be okay.
See, I
No,
have
but
really sensitive teeth, though.
oh, Hailee, just bite some ice cream.
I should.
Can you do that? Can you just bite off an ice cream cone or do you have to lick it?
Oh my gosh, if I bit an ice cream cone, I think I would go into a seizure.
You are okay. You need to up your thresholds for doing hard things. I can just bite,
No.
like I could just chew, I could just crunch it piece of ice in my front teeth if I needed to.
That's crazy.
Do you also have an issue with spicy food? Now I need to know this. Like when it's like really hot and spicy.
What do you mean issue?
Like, are you going to be freaking out? Are you like, oh my gosh, this is so hot? Or like, you're like, I can never
I won't put myself in that position.
Oh my word. Spicy food is so good. It's so fun.
Do you like spicy food?
Yes.
What?
What is wrong with you?
Does John like spicy food?
Not particularly.
Okay. There's always that because Justin loves it. I don't know how, but everything and anything kind of meal he'll put hot sauce on it. I'm like, how do you taste anything other than hot sauce?
Well, John will eat spice, but yeah, he's not going to put hot sauce on everything.
I will eat spice. Like I'll have a spicy tuna roll at sushi. Like I'll go that far, but
all right, that's not too bad.
I'll put wasabi in there. I don't mind some wasabi. So some spice is okay. I'm not a baby. Okay.
All right, there. I was just checking to see if you're a baby. Good job. I will now hand you the reins of the Fresh and Fired Up podcast because you passed the test. You're not a baby. Although we do love babies. There are episodes on babies you can go back and love
babies. You know what? I'm really excited if we make it this far. Like when I'm with child. to have these podcasts and how it morphs, because like it's morphed from mostly like business. I have to say most of your other stuff from like way back when was a lot of business and like mindset and things like that, and then it kind of morphed into like health, fitness, and even more so now. And so I'm excited to see the evolution of how our lives inflict the podcast some more.
I agree, actually. Yeah. Well, and it's one of those things, right? Like there'll be things on the forefront of your brain. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about it before, where often we end up being able to be the most helpful for people who are in a similar life scenario, but we're just like 5 or 10 years ahead, like in actual amount of time, like age, where, or experience in a sense, right? Where it's like, okay, well, I totally see that you're going through this, and not to ever undermine a person's specific scenario, but to be able to be like, yes, I've been through trying to keep businesses going while having newborns, which is a totally different phase than when your kids are a little bit older or when you don't have kids. It's so funny to look back and be like, oh yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Enjoy your freedom. No, I'm kidding. I don't say it. What I never want to do though is make it seem like having kids is bad or burdensome. I hate when people do that. Like when they're like, oh, just you wait. Life sucks after kid. That's very much a mindset choice is what I'm trying to say. Because you can approach anything in life like that. I think if we confuse doing hard things with life sucks versus, hey, when we're challenged, when they're suffering, when it's hard, that's when we grow the most. Yes, in the moment, it's going to feel like it sucks sometimes. And we talked about getting emotional. Yes, you might want to cry on a day, but actually it's a good thing. When you look back, you realize how much you learned through it, how much you have the choice of allowing it to draw you closer to your loved ones. But again, you have the choice to isolate yourself more too. And that's going to be up to you.
It's true. I think it's a really good checkpoint to yesterday. I was having one of these days. I cried yesterday, just so everyone knows. Reason for that was because of my dog. In the morning, he chewed some of my nice shoes and I had to throw them out. So that was strike one. Didn't really faze me. I was like, you know what? I can just buy some more shoes. What a great surprise. Like, I'll just go shoe shopping.
Yeah.
Don't have to tell me twice. Yeah. It was irritating, but it wasn't like the tipping point of it. A long day at work. And then I come home and he has shit all over his crate, rolled in it.
Oh.
And I was taking him to the bathtub and he peed all along the floor. I was like, dude, how old are you? Anyways, then I had to deal with that and then take his crate outside and wash it. And obviously I'm mumbling like to myself outside because I'm like so mad.
This is just so irritating. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, you can feel the tension where it's like You know, when you get to that shaky point where I'm like, oh, I'm so irritated, I'm shaking. That's my cue to go do some non-sleep deep rest. Do you know what that is?
Tell us about it. I don't really know.
Um, if any of you guys have watched or listened to Dr. Huberman or the Huberman Lab, he talks about it quite a bit. It's more so like a meditation, but it's like guided, where it like brings you back into your body and it's very restful. Anyways, I came into my room, closed my door, didn't want to hear my dog whining, put my nice noise canceling earmuffs on, and listened to some non-sleep deep rest. Justin comes home and he was like, what's going on? Then I started crying.
Oh no.
Because I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Anyways, to my point, why I told you this whole story is
Okay.
because sometimes your like pessimism is because you have reached capacity. Today, don't feel like that at all. Had a nice,
Right.
good sleep. So, like, I think it's also an emotional state. Like, if you are thinking like kids are going to be the worst thing in the world, blah, 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 maybe your capacity is at its peak point. Because like yesterday I could have been the most pessimistic person ever. I'm like, get rid of this dog. Obviously I'm not going to,
Yeah.
but today so much more calm, so much more like level-headed. I'm like, you know what, it was fine, it's over, it's a new day, we're good.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, I agree. Well,
Thank
and
you for
there's a
being here.
couple things that can happen. Say, okay, with dogs, they're going to hold you accountable to like, if
Mhm.
they like going for a walk every day, if you need to take them for a walk every day, they're like jumping at the door and they got their leash and they're like ready to go. And you're like, oh, I'm tired today, right?
Mhm.
But they're going to make it so that you're like, well, I guess I better take you for a walk. So it's something outside yourself. And same for you. It's like, oh, I didn't make this mess. And now I got to clean up your mess. So there's
Yep.
this like annoyance because you're like, listen, I've already had a long day. What's your problem? Right.
Yeah,
But it's like, it's a
it's
dog.
not
The dog doesn't,
fair.
yeah, the dog doesn't know. And so with little kids, it's the same way. John and I have talked about this so many times. We're like, if you want to force selfishness out of yourself,
Yes.
have children. And it's
Yes.
it's actually really good. Like I know there's the extreme if we're transitioning into our gray matters episodes. There's the extremes and then there's kind of the middle ground where if you tip so far that you do everything, every single thing you do for your kids and you are kind of almost a control freak about it, you tend to get to the point where you either are just a doormat for them
Mhm.
or you become resentful because you're like, I'm doing everything for everyone and you're hitting
Yeah.
your capacity like you said. Or you can look at it like, one, there's going to be tons of moments where I'm just going to choose to help you or do something for you just straight out of I love you and I don't need to be selfish in this moment. I don't need to make it about me in this moment. I can do it for you just because I love you.
Mhm.
That is something you need to develop over time. And that is
Yeah.
like a heart softening, you need to soften your heart in that area. It's a hard thing to do, but it's actually a really good fruitful thing. Where it gets like too far one way is if you then cross the line of I don't want to give up any sort of control and I want to do everything for you. What happens is you are now not allowing them to learn
Mhm.
and you are not practicing your own skills of leadership and empowerment where it's yes, you're going to have to delegate sometimes, you're going to have to remind them a bunch of times. That's part of leadership and that kind of ties back into business stuff, right? You do the
Yep.
same thing with your employees. And so I feel like the whole management, I'm going to call it like the management side of being a parent, and you're doing that with your dog too. There's like a
Mhm.
managing of like you have different systems you have to have in order to just make any sort of whatever stage you are at your in your household, you need some sort of systems to make it run so it's not just complete chaos, and that requires effort. It just
Oh,
does.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's either the effort of doing it all yourself or it's the effort of empowering the family or empowering the team, which is also a job in itself.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think empowering your team long term, much better idea than
totally.
doing it all yourself. I said this before and I'll say it again. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So,
Oh, mic drop.
yeah,
Woo.
we're going
I
to end it
agree.
off there. No, yeah, but I think that's a big thing to learn, to just kind of like delegate and also not be um, scared of asking for help too. or leaning on people. I think just like most of our listeners are very type A, very like hands-on, I'm going to do it all, blah blah blah, which like doing the things and discipline is not their weak point. It's more so allowing that loss of control and allowing like your kids to wash the dishes. Maybe they leave some yogurt on the dish and it's not the best, but at least they tried. Maybe they did
Mhm.
85 to 90% of it. And like when you think of when you were in school, like what's 85 to 90% on a test? Like it's an A
Yeah.
minus. Like that's pretty freaking good. Like, you know, we don't need to be perfect around here. And it's more so that loss of control that we struggle with. But yeah, just learning to like, okay, I can be flexible. I can live in the gray area and not everything has to be perfect.
Yes, exactly. And that really just requires being in an expanded state.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about expansion versus contraction, I've always loved that analogy when thinking about both your mindset around it and then your actions, your behaviors, the way you're communicating, all the things we love to talk about, keeping yourself in that expanded state, because then you can, yeah, you can learn from it, but also you will naturally increase your capacity. Like you talked about hitting your capacity cap. It's the same thing as a leadership lid. There's a
Mm-hmm.
glass ceiling and you're going to keep bouncing your head off of it, right? You need to actually raise the height of the glass ceiling in order to make progress, and it's totally possible. That's the encouraging part.
Yeah,
But you
but
need
you
to be
need
aware of it.
people. And you need people. Like you can't just
Yes.
expand and expand your own stuff. Like there's going to be cap and then you need another human being or
Yeah.
capital or however you use leverage, right? So
Yeah.
anyways, that's all I got for today.
Ah, spot on. So, looking forward to next week. We are amped
Yeah.
to meet you here, same time, same place.
Yeah.
And I get to actually end us off for this is my last send off, guys. Well,
Ah, don't make me cry.
that's not true because you know I'm going to talk over you at some point and
I
just do it.
know. It's still going to be your podcast. I'm just here for a good time.
Oh yeah, whatever, whatever. But hey, make sure that you click that subscribe button because we have exciting things happening moving into this next phase for you and your friends. So share these episodes with your friends. All the episodes, just share them. Just share the love, guys, and
Just spam your group chats.
spam your group chats.
Yeah.
We love and appreciate you. Thank you so so much. And in the meantime, be free, feel fresh, and live on fire.